So why you want to work quickly when working on an audition? Why you want to work as fast and as efficient as you can? Not speed for the sake of speed. Well, sort of, kind of, actually. I'll contradict what I just said. You sort of, kind of do want to work quickly for its own sake, but you want to be present for each step. I think the audition is not about quantity of time, and I think a lot of actors think that it is about quantity. It's like if I sacrifice 10 hours of work on a 3-page audition and I'm stressed about it, and I'm worrying about it, and I've paid $300 to work with 4 coaches and read with 5 partners, and no, I'll spend 15 hours and I'll get it. That somehow all that will equate to truth and honesty and freedom in the audition. And maybe for some actors it does. But what I put forth is it's actually a very small number of actors that grinding and working and laboring on the audition leads to more freedom. I don't think it does. My dogs were just running again. If you watched my last video, my dogs are in the backyard. They're having fun. Anyway, we want to work quickly because, well, first of all, you don't have much time, right? I think a lot of actors want to be in a situation where, oh my God, I've got 5 auditions in 3 days. I got 5 auditions. That's great. They're 5 good auditions. And a lot of actors also, I have another job. I have other responsibilities. So I can't spend 10 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours on each audition. I can't, right? And also, let's say you're auditioning for a top-of-show guest star on a hit TV show, and you've got one scene that you're auditioning for, and it's a 3-page scene, and let's say you spend a total of 14 hours working on that. Again, you coach it, and you go over it, and you micromanage it, and you end up booking the job. Well, what are you gonna do when you get the part? What are you gonna do when they say, we want you on set in 2 days, and you've got 6 scenes? You can't spend 15 hours on each scene, right? You need to have an audition technique and an acting technique that works, that practically works, and teaches you, prepares you for being on set. You need an audition technique, an approach to auditions where you're approaching the audition the same way you're approaching the set when you book the job. You want a technique that, yes, you're making specific choices. The technique is systematic, but it's allowing you to trust your gut, to trust your muse. You're learning to act on your impulse. And we want to stay ahead of the ego, because the ego wants to slow things down and control and micromanage and do line readings, because the ego wants to get it right. The ego wants to play a finish to start board game. The ego doesn't want to do art. The ego does not want to do art. The ego wants, what's my first line? My first line is, hey, that's my red ball. And I'm going to go, hey, that's my red ball. Let me try it. Hey, that's my red ball. Nailed it. That's what the ego wants. It wants to get it right, and it will seduce you. It will trick you into just doing a series of line readings. A lot of actors don't believe they're doing line readings. They think, well, no, I'm actually feeling this on this line, and I'm but that's not what actually happens in the audition. Maybe you were feeling something in the shower when you were mumbling it and rehearsing it. This is based on my own personal experience. When I was a younger actor, I might have been feeling something in fantasy when I'm mumbling lines, walking around, and then when I'm actually doing it, I just do the quiver in my voice. I just I just do line readings. And I think the audition wants to be an improv every time. The lines generally are already written, and we need to say those lines. We need to just read them, have them next to the camera and read them, or we have them memorized. But how we do them, it's an improv. It's based on what I'm seeing in the reader. I'm doing one specific thing, and I'm going after it. I'm letting it rip, right? This is what happens on set. On set, they need actors who work quickly, who work spontaneously, who can very quickly get a handle on a scene and then let it rip. They're like, that actor knows the character. I don't have to worry about them. They're gonna show up and let it rip. And again, what I always say is, and I know it goes contrary to what so many coaches and teachers say, acting, not acting, Character is an illusion. The illusion of character happens in the mind of the audience, the mind of the viewer, not in the mind of the actor. So, working quickly, it helps give us this freedom, this sense of, I don't have to micromanage this. I don't have to spend 13 hours, 11 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, even 5 hours. We want to train. This is what I train my actors to do in my classes. I train them to work quickly, to practice an analyzation, a simple analyzation technique to find out what's literally happening in the scene. And once I understand that, then what's the action that I'm going to do? What is the one honest thing I'm going to go after and make sure I make it very specific? So it helps bring this illusion to life. And like I said in my last video, and it's fun. It's something I want to do. It's something my imagination can buy into, and I can lose myself in it, right? I have actors, I'm not lying when I say this, I have actors in my classes who will spend 20 minutes on a 3-page audition and then start taping it, and they'll book it. I know it seems crazy to some of you watching this, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Especially with 95% of auditions being self-tape, you don't have to memorize it. You have to learn how to grab words off the page and to stay on the action, but you can learn that skill. And man, oh man, when you work quickly as an actor, you get your life back. I often make this joke, but it's actually, there's truth to it, where when I tell new folks who enter my class that like, your spouse is gonna dig me more than you are. Because the first time you say to your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you know, if you live with them or whatever, whoever your reader is all the time, let's just say spouse, but the first time on a Friday night you say to your spouse, hey, I got an audition that's due Monday morning, so I just need you for like 30 minutes right now. We're just gonna do 3 takes. You tell me what the one you dig the most is, and then we're done with it. They're gonna be like, holy shit, who is this guy? No more are the days of like, okay, it's Friday, got an audition due Monday, weekend's booked, cancel all plans. We're just gonna run this thing all day Saturday, then we're gonna run it again most of the day Sunday, and we're gonna try to get a couple good takes for a couple hours Sunday night. It's like, boy, actors' lives are eaten alive by spending all this time obsessing, and doing worry fake work on auditions. That just leads to more control and more falsity. And we want freedom. We want spontaneity. I believe that for most actors, if they found a quicker way to work, and it has to make sense, it has to be an approach that actually works, of course, but I think most actors, this is true for the ones that I work with, find a quicker approach. Ooh. It's so much more fun, and it's so much more freeing, and you stay ahead of the ego because the ego wants you to slow down. Wait, what are we doing? We need to control it. We need to make sure it's right. You want to stay ahead of that ego, right? You want to let it rip.